And we got Matteo Mazzarollo with us.
How's it going?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. Well, this has been in the works for a while.
Yes, it has.
It started when you heard the sandwich Nazi, and you're like, Rob, we got to get on there. We got to talk about conspiracy theories and the way the world is. I'm like, absolutely, man. I mean, the way that I am, as we've talked about, I mean, I'm a skeptic, so I mean, I have an open mind. So some of the things that you're going to share, I might have more questions than necessary, confirmations.
I can't wait for you to question them. Not everything I'm gonna say is I'm gonna go more conspiracy at the end, like with the QR.
Okay, and by the way, sorry, what I mean by that is just there are things that happen, and it's like we got to make sense of them. So I don't know. I don't even like the term conspiracy theory. What I meant was trying to make sense out of things that seem rather inexplicable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can go into like a little bit of like why I think the way I think a little bit also too. So growing up, like played hockey, grew up in Surrey. Yeah, had a great experience, was able to travel all over BC playing hockey. So I got to meet like Surrey people when I was younger, like that's city people. And then I grew up in Trail a little bit, playing hockey there, and then in Vermeer. And that was like a totally wild experience because you meet like people that are like deeper into our country and they think a little bit differently than we people do. So that was like an adjustment for me too.
Urban versus the rural.
Oh yeah. And so like that was like an experience in itself. Well, hockey was able to give me a scholarship to go play in Philadelphia. So I attained a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration there. And that was an experience right there because Philadelphia, the East Coast, man, like people are just
historical.
Like, it's like, and that was the thing. Like I got to learn history while I was in university, and American history, they don't know what Canada is. Like it's so like you don't hear anything about Canada. You don't hear
even our culture. Like our media is very American.
They think we like some kids thought that we were like another state. Like it was crazy. Like there was no perception of like east and west. Like Vancouver was 5 feet away from Toronto. Like everyone thought I knew Frank in Toronto. I'm like, like so you see that, and then I saw the way that like history was taught there versus here. And then it got me to like wonder, how is history depicted all over the world? Because when I was in Philly, you learn about First World War, Second World War, but you only hear the American side. Like, you don't hear how England helped anything. You don't hear how any other country helped anyone. You don't hear about Canada. Like I didn't hear much history on Canada. I was actually kind of frustrated with that part.
Right.
And
because you knew of their contribution.
Yeah. And so it's very minimal interaction between our history. And then so when I got to go play hockey in Italy after, which was awesome, like love that. One thing I got to do was go travel. And a big thing was I went to England. I went to the Second World War Museum because after playing Call of Duty and all these games my whole life, you like kind of have like, man, I'm totally down to go see like some of these tanks and all that. Well, I learned like how Russia invaded Poland, or no, Germany was invading Poland. And then so Russia didn't want that. So Russia actually spread Germany super thin in the Second World War. And then England was able to, I don't know, win the war and kill Hitler off or whatever, bomb him. They say they bombed his bunker or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't really hear that part of history growing up in school in Canada. And I didn't hear that in American university. So, because like American university, all you
everybody saved the day in their own way, right?
Exactly. So this is like
the Canadians, it was Italy, right? And then
so you know what I mean? Like it was so different. Like now I'm hearing like 3 different histories, but it's in their own terms. So then I'm like, wow. For me, I also had a teacher in grade 10 social studies, Mr. Williamson. He was a great teacher. He actually taught us about the news and how you need to depict your own news. Like, so you need to read multiple articles on the same thing. He would show us 2 articles, and his big thing was media influence society. Whoever controlled the media was able to influence society. And he showed us through a couple different history points, through like Canadian history, how it worked, and through American history. And I thought that was just like crazy. And for me there, I kind of started looking at the media a little bit differently, because he made us critically think. Something I feel like is kind of
step back from what you projected, not just
don't believe what you're reading right yet.
Yeah.
Listen to the other side too. Because like, what's the other side saying? So that was kind of the way. And I've depicted media, I've depicted everything. Like, yeah, I kind of lean one way more. You can say that, I guess. But I'm always questioning. Like, I'm now questioning the narrative all the time. I think if you don't, like, you're not critically thinking. Like, you're literally not trying. You're not trying to help yourself. Yeah. You're not trying to understand. Like, you're just accepting. Like, I think knowledge is power. And when people understand too much, it seems like it's the people that are on censoring stuff, and I don't know, or media, if you understand too much, it's no good, because we know the science, or we know this. Right? So if I try to say like, well, the study over here says it'll get shot down, so that's like kind of going into the whole COVID battle. And hey, I'm not an anti-vaxxer at all, double vaxxed, whole family vaxxed.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is rather like, where did that come from, right?
Totally, right? And
the theories behind that, like the biological lab things, you're just like, okay, like that's wild.
And
also knowing China's intentions, I mean, come on. And I always want to distinguish the government versus the people of China.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Like this
some weird
CCP, like their regime. They're
exactly.
Like Chinese Communist Party. It's crazy. Like, that's a real thing we're saying every day, and it's cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I interviewed a guy who's an Uyghur on here, and he was talking about what's happening in I guess far western China. I mean, and the same thing happened with Tibet, but we've seemed to have forgotten that China invaded Tibet.
Yeah.
In 1954 or something. I don't know.
Yes. And so going into that whole like thing with the war with Russia and Ukraine, and so I'm like curious. I don't know what's going on, and I think like war is terrible, and I don't think anyone should invade anyone, and I don't think it's right.
I feel like war's obsolete at this day and age. I thought that, I mean,
the fact that anyone can push a button at any given time, like that is crazy. That's wild. Like,
I mean, granted, you push that button, you might as well kill yourself, right?
Yeah. Like, well, you're gonna. I think they've all thought about that. They probably have some bunker 50 miles.
Yeah. But then what? Like, oh fuck, we just live in a bunker till we die. Like, we just did COVID for 2 years. That sucked.
Well, we've already done it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It would. So for like, that's what I mean. Who knows what's really going on there? Because you hear, I've been trying to watch lots of news on this now.
Yeah. And I get from the objective versus like just.
I want to confirm Russia is bad. Like, Russia is not like, it's not good what they're doing. Like killing people.
Again, the Russian people versus the Russian like.
But I'm also like seeing lots of leadership. Like, I know that they control their media, right? Russia. But I'm also seeing like articles and things on how everywhere that Russia's bombed in Ukraine is a bioweapons site for the United States. Okay. 32 of them. Or no, they have, no, not 32. It was the United States has 32 factories they're in 32 countries in all the world, but they have a bunch in Ukraine or something. So they apparently everywhere that has been bombed is where the United States has shot, pretty much. So something to me seems a little weird there. You know, like you're doing something with intention, but
well, they were shelling like right by a nuclear plant or something.
Chernobyl, right?
Well, there was that.
Yeah,
And then there's like the biggest nuclear reactor in Europe or something. They were
that's
shelling and they were hitting like around the nuclear plant, and you know, other horrible things. I mean, artillery strikes are when civilians are casualties,
totally. And that's what I'm
right?
saying. It's just like, so United States has got something going on in Ukraine that's pissing off Russia, and Russia's now saying, United States, we don't care what you're going to do because you're not going to do anything, and so we're going to do whatever we want. And they think, and I think that's kind of what's happening. I think, like, I don't know, like there's just no pushback of this right now. Like, well, stand for Ukraine. We're getting a lot of stand for Ukraine, like a lot.
Are you talking about
anyone going there, getting on a plane?
People are doing that though.
Not. There's too many people that I think, like, you're on social media and you put it on social media to be like, hey, stand for Ukraine. I got my flag up on my profile picture. Honestly, that's not what it's about.
Well,
like, that's not helping anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's the same like with Black Lives Matter. People, you know, arguably the black screens, except for the only exception would be that it gets people talking about it because they're seeing the symbolism.
I think we're well
performative.
There's a massive war going on. I think talk is well aware. You know, like, I get it. Like, I get the whole thing, but I think some of these now, some like people use this as a clout machine, and like that's.
However, like, but then this one's getting so much attention, but there's conflicts in like the Sudan that are happening, right?
Oh, totally.
And it's like, where's the publicity on that?
Exactly.
Not that, like,
and
you not saying one's superior to the other, or
you got to think over time. There was like the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they did to the Middle East. They did terrible things. Like they bombed people that thought that they were just like a generation of Bin Laden or Saddam. They were like, or Al Qaeda leaders. They were like, just because you were family or you were a son, they were killing their whole family. Like they were
Obama. I don't know anything.
Obama was in the plane because there's no one flying the plane, and you know, but it was a lot of.
There were tons of like drone strikes, and
there was a mass, like that was the year that technology went in through the roof for drones. And like,
I think technology in general.
But like they were selling drones like crazy. Like Lockheed Martin was making probably crazy money off drones at that point in time.
Yeah.
If I were to pull up the numbers, it would be astounding. But I remember the Obama administration caught flack for this, but not really. But they killed thousands of people. Like, and this is not talked about, right? But it's like, why did they do it though? What was
but think, hold on. Sorry to interrupt, but think about how our relationship with technology changed in that span of time. I'm not linking it to that presidential period, but in that period of time, think about how our relationship to technology changed.
Yeah,
hugely. Totally. I mean, and now it's like we can't even think. It's like before cell phone and after cell phone.
I'm saying that, but still, what's the difference of Obama bombing from the sky versus Russia invading on foot and shelling and all this stuff? There's not much of a difference. And what was the purpose of the United States in Iran or Iraq or in the Middle East in general? What was the sole purpose? Oil. It actually was a 20-year failed war, really. That left $85 billion, I think, or some stupid number worth of tanks and all this stuff that now the Al Qaeda and all these people have. They have more technology than some countries. Like that's how much they left. They left more warfare technology than some countries. Like that's more.
Well, they probably left drones and shit there.
For sure. They showed them flying. They showed them flying. There's videos of like these guys flying helicopters around. Like it's crazy. So I don't know. Like like there's numbers, and like I don't have them on me, but the numbers are crazy for that. And it's just like one of those wars. You're just like, man. And then one thing I actually heard on another podcast was on Joe Rogan's. It was like the CIA fake vaccination clinic thing. Did you ever hear about this?
Was this the syphilis experiment?
No. So to find Bin Laden, what they wanted to do is they set up an HIV vaccination clinic in Iran or wherever it was, and they went in and they said it was to vaccinate 8-year-olds, whatever. They were looking for Bin Laden's DNA. They were extracting DNA from these kids to find Bin Laden so they can find him. So now and then the Al-Qaeda blew up tons of vaccination clinics, and that's why. And then CIA had to probably apologize for it.
Al-Qaeda were freedom fighters.
So like, I'm not like defending
against. No. I'm not either, but I'm just saying, like, they fought against the Russians. They were trained by the CIA. The Al-Qaeda were.
This is like what I'm saying is that these guys had intention. Like, look at what's going on to us. Like, and that's something too. Like, everyone thinks they're on the good side of things. So
that's going back to your history theory.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like, you got to know both sides to understand, like, to even have common ground, right?
Absolutely.
And I think there's this huge thing now where we don't want to understand the other side. If like you're wrong, oh, see you. Can't talk to you, Rob. Goodbye. Like, I shouldn't even be listening to your podcast. You know, like that's it. Like, it's why? Because you're scared of the information? Because the information is too tough to hear? What is it? I don't know.
Especially when, like, if I could just listen to you, or I could just try and kill you. It's like, well, one takes far less effort if I just listen.
Far less. Like, I don't know how.
But why not? Why do we keep appealing to? Are we appealing to the media? Is it what is it that's making
it's our game now? It's our, like, I think like war with human history has always been like, there's always been like, I want more, you know. There's never
But now, but you know what? Okay, so I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
And it's like, there was a period in time in my life when I was like, I'm going to join the military when I was like a teenager. Okay. And then in grade 12, I read this book, All Quiet on the Western Front. And it's about World War I and like these young men that are there and just how, like, what war does to them. And I was like, don't want to do that anymore. And then Call of Duty comes out, and then it's like you get, you know, taken out right away by some 12-year-old kid sniping fucking camper. And you're like, God damn it, I don't want anything to do with this, because when you're dead, you're dead. That's so it. I just feel like war psychologically becomes something that it's like, I don't want fucking nothing to do with that. Like, if World War III happens, it's like, no, I'm going to go in a bush. Like, I'm not doing that.
So I talked to my dad the other day, and he goes, if Russia came and invaded Canada, would you grab a gun and stand up and fight? I'm like, well, it's pretty heroic. Like, you know, like, that's all I thought. Like, and I'm like,
Wolverines.
You know what he goes? He's like, why would I go fight? He's like, so they can kill me? He's like, I don't know how to use a gun. He's like, one of those guys, I'm not even going to see him. I'm going to be dead. I started laughing. He's like, the only difference is I'm going to hang out in my house. Hopefully I don't die from shelling or whatever, but I'll just pay taxes to Putin. And I started laughing. I was like, you're totally right. Like, why would I go do that for you, Trudeau?
Yeah.
You made my life miserable for, well, COVID. Trudeau didn't make it easier. Like, I can tell you that much.
He's like, hey man, Trudeau, he's good on like a
role. Like, I'll say something right now, and this is going to get me into the whole crypto thing, because let's move on to that, because let's get out of this war, because what's going on right now, I call the Cincinnati Shuffle, when like you're looking left.
Did you come up with this?
We're going right. No, it's actually a movie quote, but like but the whole thing, like when you're going left, I'm going right. Like, it's so true. It's the biggest. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So what happens is we are kind of distracted. We have COVID.
We're exhausted.
now. We have the war now. Now
we're not distracted. We're exhausted.
We don't know what's going on. Like now, like reality has been distorted for 2 years because we have been confused. Like we have not known what's going on from 1 month or 2 weeks. Like that's our buffer. Like we don't know. Like, oh, are we shut down? Or are we going? We shut down or are we vaccinating? Are we more vaccinating or are we no vaccinating? Like, it's crazy. It's been like a whirlwind for everyone. People have been fighting. People have been crazy. People have not been going on. Well, going back, I got into crypto, right?
Okay.
I was sitting on the back. It was like 2016. This happened. Me and my buddy were sitting on the back of the Queen of New Westminster on the ferry. He's like, "Hey, Matteo, you ever hear of this Bitcoin stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, we use it to buy like the Italian channel for my Nona." And he's like, "Oh, dude, it's like going up to like $300." I'm like, "Holy!" Well, I had like 5 cents of a Bitcoin left, and that like went up to like 27 or like $2 or whatever. But then it shot up to 3,000. Then I had like 60, $70 or whatever, right? Like I was like, wow, like crazy. And then I put that into like other ones, and then I took some other money and I put it into other ones. Well, then like it shot up to like 20 grand. Like all these ones just blew up.
You're 20 grand.
Like I didn't buy a whole Bitcoin, but I bought like Litecoin and Ethereum. Those ones shot up to like 200.
But you had 20 grand from this at one point.
At one point at that time, I had like 14, 15, and this is like investing like 400, 500.
14 grand.
Yeah, 14
that's grand. That's great, but you got to think that's crazy.
Yeah, so like me and my brother's like, holy crypto, like right, like, we're crypto boys now, right? Like we're gonna show, and my dad's like, if I can't touch it, I don't want it, right? And I'm like, we're like, Dad, like look at this. Well, then it took a dump, and then so we were way back down to like 6 grand. I'm like, oh man, like no good. So we like bought, like we kept up with the crypto news and stuff, whatever. Yeah. And like, you know, like still like hoping, like let's just hope, pray. So we bought some of this other stuff, and then like I started finding out like governments are buying gold, and they're also like they're looking for a new digital currency. So I started looking for currencies that were like really fast, didn't cost money, and energy efficient. So then I found this thing. I actually got in touch with a buddy. His name was Ryan Hankin. He starts talking about, have you looked at this ISO 222 roadmap? Well, oh, wow. Okay. So I looked into it. It's basically talking about this switch that's going to happen like almost completely overnight. And that's terrifying. Like your money is going to compete with digital currency overnight.
That would be a great die-off.
Oh, like people don't understand the implications like that's going to happen. Yeah. But then like I started looking, I was like, there's no way he could be right about that. Like, how can they do that? Like some people are going to lose so much money. Well, he's like, look at the government spending that's been going on. And this is pre-COVID, mind you. So this is like 2018, and Trudeau just started spending boatloads of money. Yeah. I'm like, okay, start getting worse. I'm like, whoa, like he's spent like it's not just like millions, it's billions now. Billions, hundreds of billions. Now he's up to like 320. It's more, he's printed more cash than ever. Like 80%, or it's some ridiculous number. More cash has ever been. So what happens to our dollar? Our dollar is our interest rates are probably gonna go up. Everything's probably gonna get inflated. There's mass inflation, which is what's happening right now. The oil has not just been from Russia. Russia's just a little, it's shooting it up now by 10 cents each time. Right. But the oil prices have been, this whole taxation and stuff has been rising because of our inflation going on with our dollar. You have to keep your cash. We're going to have to keep inflating. So that's been a whole part of the process. And then, so I'm like, okay, like what are you talking about? Like what coins are you talking about? So there's like 6 digital currencies that he told me to buy. And so I'm like, okay, diversify, because that's what I learned in college when you're investing in the stocks, because you don't know what's going to happen. So you just buy, I just bought a bunch. I just bought every single one he said.
Like penny stocks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Well, this was last year. Me and him were talking about this stuff, but I already had a few of these cryptos. So, and I was already like, I just like thought of them, but he showed me this roadmap that showed like how each one's going to be backed by a precious metal. And then you go on into what's happening right now. We had COVID, massive inflation, printed tons and tons of money, weakening the dollar. Now, in this roadmap, it also talks about like a few world events that are going to happen that are going to cause all this inflation, cause food shortage, cause oil shortage, all this stuff.
Yeah.
At first,
it's apocryphal.
I thought at first, I'm like, this is a full-blown conspiracy.
When did you read this?
3 years ago. And like I read this
2019.
Yeah, I read this like the ISO roadmap. The first time I ever saw it was
roadmap
3 years ago. Yeah. And then I really started reading into it last year with my buddy. And I started getting like, holy, like this is
Who wrote this?
I saw this. So this has been going on. Like there was an article in the Economist. It actually has, it's from 1988. It has a picture of burning cash and of Phoenix holding a token. And it's called The Death of Paper Money and the Birth of Digital.
1988.
So this
planned. That's crazy.
So that's like something like that blew my mind when I saw that. And this guy he's one of the biggest hedge fund. Like he's like one of those guys that write like where like what's gonna happen if
he's got a big head.
Fly goes down here, we have to fix it here. He's like one of those people. I don't know the name off my head. So at this time, I'm reading all this, and like I said, I depict my information. I try to really depict my information, but I'm like, also, I want to kind of prep myself if this happens. You know, I'm not going to dump my whole life savings into this, but like, I'll dump a couple.
But you're being empirical. You're being empirical.
Yeah. Well, last year, me and my brothers, we did really well with crypto. We had one that shot up called Phantom. It shot up to about $2, and it went from 15 cents to $2. It was one of our friends said, hey, this one's going to blow up. We said, okay. We threw a couple hundred into it, and it shot up. We're like, okay. And it shot up even more. So we did really well there.
Yeah.
So we took all that money, we started putting into these, now we're liquidating into these 6 cryptos because this is literally unfolding in front of our eyes.
And how does your buddy know that Fanta was going to be the thing?
He's way more into crypto than I was.
Yeah.
And my brother knew this guy from high school. And I don't know how word got, he lives in Dubai. We're living off Phantom. He's one of those guys. Yeah. So he told someone that told my brother. That's and they're kind of good friends. So it's a good source. So it's let's just try.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Word of mouth.
It was great. And then another guy we know, he sold everything and all house, car, everything, moved to Dubai to live off Phantom, and because he believes in it that much, and he's there living off cryptocurrency. So when I saw this, when you see this stuff kind of play out real time, this stuff's not a joke. But you talk to
maybe it is, but
maybe it is, but
yeah.
People are living life right now, and it looks a lot better than we're working. So
yeah,
all these guys are living in
Mexico. Living in Dubai sounds all right, man.
Yeah, I'm working for a pension, so that guy's not.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So then also I've been reading tons, right? So I also read the conspiracy part, the government part, because government doesn't really pump tires about that they're switching currency. They haven't really been talking about it. You haven't been hearing about CBDCs on the news. What you have heard.
What's that? A CD?
Central banking digital currency. What's that? It's the whole bank. It's the number one bank that owns all the currency, basically. And it sends the money. It's every money dollar figure is going to go through that.
Yeah. It's a centralized thing, a nexus.
Yeah. So what's going on in Russia? They just booted Russia off SWIFT. Right? Everyone's sanctions.
What is SWIFT?
It's the way that we send money around the world. It's I don't know the acronym, but it takes a while. It's not fast. It also costs a lot of money, and it locks up billions of dollars a day. Okay. Yeah. So billions of dollars, maybe more, trillions.
But this is digital money. This is
not digital money. This is paper money, fiat dollars.
Oh,
this is
fiat dollars.
Yes. This is a slow system. Yeah. Well, now there's this new one called CIPS, and that stands for the drawing a blank for some stupid reason.
I'll Google it.
CIPS is cross-border interbanking payment system. So yeah, if you Google the cross-border interbanking payment system,
yeah,
that is developed by China. Well, guess who's all on it? The Middle East, Russia. Yeah. You think they need SWIFT? And guess what?
Saudi Arabia as well?
Oh yeah. They're all moving to this.
Are there no Middle Eastern countries that would side with the West?
I don't know, but for me, it's like, okay, good versus evil, right? Good versus evil. I don't know how good we're looking right now because we're still on SWIFT.
Well, we're collapsing eternally.
We're still on SWIFT. Okay, so that's
but we're also collapsing internally.
Yeah, so CIPS is going to be the new way that they're going to send money, and it's going to be super fast. It's going to unlock trillions of dollars. So it's going to be, what they're going to do is they're going to take one crypto and they're going to use that crypto and they're going to flush the money through it, and they can send like American dollar to China, and they'll have the Chinese yuan or the digital yuan or whatever it is, and they'll be able to send that money like within a second.
How much more money could the world need though? Like
it's the world.
At some point,
I don't even know how this is possible. If you look up the world debt, it's ridiculous. I'm like, how's the world in debt? Who are we in debt to?
Yeah, like it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. We're running on a dream.
Is that who is
on
that?
the wings of a prayer? Like it doesn't make any sense.
I was a little bit religious. Like, is that God? Like, does God owe God money? Like, what do I owe him?
Yeah.
How am I gotta go to church and keep giving me money? Like,
yeah.
You know, like, man.
That.
Hope he's not collecting interest on that.
Yeah. No doubt.
No,
to the bank of what? Like,
I don't know.
Church of Latter-day Saints. It's crazy, man.
It's crazy.
And it's like, at what point it's like, and then, you know, we talk about at the cellular chemical level, when things speed up, they start to evaporate, changing states.
Exactly.
You know? Like something crazy is happening. I can't discredit that.
That's the thing. Like, we're so distracted by this war, but like now,
if it's not the war, it's something else. We're just distracted.
What happened a couple of days ago? Biden just signed an executive order to regulate cryptocurrency. So now it's basically United States is going to have a crypto that's going to be their fiat dollar. And this whole process, what's going to back this dollar is gold. Who's been buying all the gold? Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, all these countries loading up on gold. Because that's what these cryptocurrencies are going to be backed on.
Right.
So it's getting wild. Like, we don't really know. I don't know what's happening. I'm just reading the information and I'm looking at this roadmap, and I got a picture of it right here, and it says that by 2024 the US would catch up to CIPS. But apparently it's sped it up to 2022. So big things are going to be happening this year. From what I understand. That's like me and my buddy, because we own like the cryptocurrencies. We're like, come on. Because like that happens, they're going to fund all the money through it. And the thing with this one XRP, and the reason why I think it's going to happen, is Bitcoin takes about 30 minutes to send money somewhere. And it costs a ton of money to generate it. It's really bad for the environment too. So like when you mine it, you have to use
which is so crazy.
Terrible.
Why is it bad for the environment?
No idea. And Ethereum has gas, so that's wild. They have a gas. It's faster. It's more expensive to mine too, just like Bitcoin. Not as expensive, but it also has a gas fee initiated with it. I don't know, whatever that means. So I just hate it when you buy an NFT and you have to pay a friggin' gas fee. But anyways, so
you have to pay a gas fee.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes you have to pay like $80 extra and you bought something for $4. And you're like, what? I'm not buying that right now. It's like telling you when you can buy something.
Yeah.
So then XRP, it's a coin that it's been, and the weird thing is it's one of those coins that's never talked about, and it's like kind of been like
XRP.
Yeah, Ripple, and they've gotten sued by the SEC, and apparently this lawsuit's almost over. And the CEO of Ripple said that 90%, 99% of all of their cryptos are going to go to zero, and after this lawsuit, because they're going to be able to regulate cryptos or whatever. So it might be a bad day for all other cryptocurrencies, because Ripple, they can pass the Howey test. They can pass, like, they are technically a security, but they're not traded as one, but they could be. I don't know.
Are they like a limited blockchain or whatever it's called?
Yeah, they're on the blockchain. But this is one of those ones that they think that, okay, how come Ripple, with the huge market cap it has, why isn't it at the price of like Litecoin or Ethereum that are like at $2,000 range, right? Yeah. Well, they think it's been like suppressing. Like there's massive whales buying it, like all these like like MasterCard, like all these other partners partnering with it, and you're like, you're not hearing this news, and you're like, this is a part of the Cincinnati Shuffle, because I'm so distracted by Ukraine that I'm not hearing about like all these other countries. And then my buddy Ryan said something pretty interesting to me the other day when we were talking. He actually said that he thinks that they are gonna push the date a little bit, but they're gonna make it so that all these heavy retail investors can catch up. So I guess like all the big players, you know, so they got to get their money into it. I don't know. It's all over my head at this point. But there's another article that I saw. We're going into the conspiracy hour, so we can put on the tinfoil hat.
See, for me, like, but the problem is that with anything, it's like, oh, you know, you got to make investments, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, if I had a bunch of money lying around, but with some of these things, it's like it's obviously a gamble, so it's like you got to gamble wisely.
Well, Kevin O'Leary, he said the whole thing with him is like, if it's an investment that's something like he thinks is smart, he'll do it, because if it fails, it fails, but if it hits, there it is, right? Like, and so that's kind of like that's kind of the way I look at stuff. Like, I don't really throw my money anywhere. I throw my money where I think is appropriate, and I don't really mess around too much. Like I throw my money into real estate. I have a couple places with my brothers, and then I throw my money into crypto, and that's literally it. I don't mess around.
Real estate is a sure thing. I mean,
the way to go. And if once I get all my winnings from crypto, where do you think that money's going? Back in real estate.
Yeah.
You got to have the money moving, right? And also, I don't know. Anyways, well, going into another article I saw, that with about like everything, and this is where we can put on the tinfoil hat. Is they're looking for, like, with digital currencies, they have smart contracts in them, and they have the ability to like, if you go to purchase something, it can actually stop you from purchasing something, right? They could program the currency into what it could be spent on. Kind of scary if you think that, right? Programming currency. So like these,
they can just set what it is.
They can say like, okay, like you can buy, like, what, say if this currency, and they program it that you can't buy a car with it, and you got a lot of it, and you can't buy a car, right? Okay. So going on with COVID, we all just signed, this is conspiracy now. We all just signed up. We took our jabs, right? Because we were helping society. We got a little QR code. Yeah. That QR code, I don't know if you've seen the information on it. Pretty wild. It's insane. It's the amount of information. It's like how many bank accounts you have. To like,
on the QR code that they gave you for the vaccination.
Yeah, that QR code contains a lot of information, like your sex, your gender, if you're trans, if you're gay, like whatever it is, your religion.
If you're gay is on there.
Literally everything. Like, it's like so detailed, and it's how many immunizations you've had, what immunizations you've had, what diseases you have, everything. It's kind of scary. Like, it's pretty wild. Not people don't know about it, right? Because we're not told about it. One thing
how do you access this QR code to see this information?
I saw it on a video from a guy from Ontario that showed everyone. He was blowing out the COVID, showing out the COVID parts that so he didn't get ripped off the internet. I wish I actually had that video for you because it's absolutely wild.
Yeah. And so you've seen this video?
Seen the video. I've seen the video.
Because we have the QR code. They scan
QR code uploaded. He shows all the information.
But now they're getting rid of that. They're getting rid of that.
Let's hope. The data collection is the biggest thing government has on their
system.
So you think that they're going to get rid of that data? Not a chance.
Oh, I see. So they already have the data they need.
Yeah, and so exactly, and you're already locked in if you're vaccinated or whatever. They probably have a QR code for every citizen. You just don't think you do because you're not vaccinated. But whatever, they already know it. And then we went into
Big Brother's watching
going on, right?
Yeah.
Well, we had the freedom protest that actually inoculated the Emergencies War Act, which then Trudeau,
right,
the FinTrack controlling, looking everyone's spending. The War Act left, that never left. They kept the whole, like, they're allowed to govern everyone's bank account. It is. So you're like, they are literally looking at everyone's bank account now. So now they're fully locked in.
Well, they were freezing people's bank accounts who sent money to the freedom.
And that's never going to stop now. They have full power forever for doing that. So if they deem you doing something that's
forever,
they're never getting rid of that. They said it. Yeah. So that's pretty wild because once government takes
our money, like, is money just going to become like nothing?
So this is like where my conspiracy is going, right?
Okay,
so,
yeah.
You know the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
The metaverse is pretty wild. You put on these goggles and you literally enter a whole different reality. You look around, I can put you in a strip club with my Oculus. It's friggin' crazy. The stripper, like, obviously.
We could be anywhere in the world, but what if we're in different time zones?
Dude, you might be you'll still be there. The strip club will be open
but it'll be my time.
Let's put it this way. If the person that made the strip club had, because you make it, like, someone like me, if I was a good programmer, I can make this strip club. Say if I made it for opening up at 9:00 Pacific time, someone in China or whatever, that at 5 p.m. or whatever time. Or 5 a.m.
Open all day.
Yeah. All day. And so they'd have an early morning hangout session. I'd be having a nighttime and I'd see this guy there. Dude, you can watch basketball games, the Brooklyn Nets. You can fully watch the basketball game live. You can walk around. You can
Do you have to pay to watch the game?
No, it's free right now because they're trying to show everyone, right? So it's wild. You can go to Walmart, push your buggy down, and then grab stuff off the shelf,
then send it to your
buggy, and you pay for it. They send it to your house via Skip Dishes, whatever the delivery service is. Boom. You got your groceries.
Whoa, dude, that's freaky, man.
If your smart fridge or whatever is hooked up to your things, what will happen is it will say, you go pick up a milk or too many eggs, it'll say, hey, Matt, you have too much milk, or you have another gallon of milk in your fridge. Are you sure you want this one? And you'll be like, well, yeah, let's fucking more milk.
We're being changed, man. This is okay. So sorry to interrupt, but Marshall McLuhan, this is a guy that we talk a lot about in this series of the show. He talked about how, we got to look at. He said the medium is the message. So what is the medium, right? And it's cell phones, internet, all these things. And it's we have been irreparably changed. We can't go back after this. No, we're in the matrix.
We're
in the but we walked our asses in, man.
I took the blue pill, I guess.
Yeah, and then you put these multiverse. That's not a multiverse. A multiverse is we're in a universe. We're in one universe right now. Multiverse is the idea that there's an uncountable number of universes.
That's what their thing is. The metaverse is infinite, and the scary part about that is
we're gonna
going back to programmable money. All right, so think about that smart fridge telling you that
We're forever changed, man. Our habits.
Milk in your fridge, right? Say if you
are artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so going with like the social credit system and all that.
Yeah.
So say if you bought too much milk one month and then all of a sudden they say, hey, because of the food shortage going on, you're not allowed this much milk. You can't buy milk today. And your money won't allow you to buy that. Your digital currency won't allow you to buy that because
that's communism, man.
That's communism, but
you know what I mean? Like that level of control. That's the road, the slippery slope.
Programmable money. And I saw an article about that in UK. And so when you see that stuff, you're like, man, like this is wild. I don't want to believe that. I just want to be rich off my crypto investment. Come on. Like, like that's insane. So that's like totally conspiracy communism, but the metaverse allows that to happen. In my opinion, like it makes it more believable to me. Like,
have you been in this metaverse?
I have an Oculus. I bought a couple.
You have one.
Yeah. Pull it up.
I gotta check that. I gotta.
So basically, boom, and then I have two controllers, and I'm like ripping around.
Yeah,
it's wild. But so when you get into there, because like I bought a couple NFTs, and this is like I had all this.
Okay, so what is the difference between a Bitcoin and an NFT?
So
NFT is a non-fungible token.
It's part of the blockchain, whatever that whole skill. Okay, so a Bitcoin, basically, that's a fiat currency. You can say I can go buy a car with a Bitcoin. I can't take my NFT and just go buy something with it. I can trade for it. I could be like, here, I'll trade you my
like
NFT.
Something you own. It's like an artwork.
Exactly. So I have now, like I own two NFTs actually that are called San Vegas Casino. And what these NFTs do is in this big sandbox where like they have Nike, Adidas, Atari, Snoop Dogg, like all these crazy players, they're building a casino. And with these NFTs, I get 50% of the casino revenue shared between the 11,000 NFTs. So say if the casino does 20, or they think they're going to do about $2 million a week. If they do that, divide that by 11,000, 1,100, I get my portion.
Right.
So like,
can you tell me how to do this?
Yeah, it's pretty. I totally could. We'll have a conversation after this. But
trust me, man. I got good ideas. I just need somebody to hear me out.
Yeah, like I'm not doing this. Like I just invested in it because I got a bunch of money off crypto.
So somebody programmed this for you.
Yeah. So these NFTs are basically the way I've noticed the way this thing works is they'll use this NFT. And they'll be like, hey, we'll give you this picture and you'll give us our money and we'll build this project. It's also known as a DAO. It's the new way of like the stock market having its investors. Mm-hmm. So like, it's the exact same thing, but now these like internet kids are doing it. It's literally the exact same process. But so I gave like this team from Germany, like I don't even know who they are. I did my investment saying like this project looks good. Like doesn't look like these guys are just going to take my money and run. Like they've actually done something before. Like me and my brother talking about this, like what do we know what we're doing, right? We had no one knows. This is so new.
Yeah.
So basically we were going to buy 6 of them because we're like, this could make us like passive income for the rest of our life. Because how many people play in the casino? So, and we're going to get 2 casinos out of this. So we were going to buy 6 originally, 2 for each of me and my brothers. And then we like got scared because we're like, what if these guys just take our money? Like, we don't want to give them like, because they're like $200 each. So we would have been out $1,200, which is quite a bit of money to us. So, and that was like winnings that we got from our crypto. We don't want to lose that. Like, we want to keep the pedal to the metal, right? So we only bought 2, but we wish we bought 6 because like they're building this casino and it looks phenomenal. And like, you're like, man, like and all of a sudden September, I'm going to start collecting money from this. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So basically it's like you invest in this NFT project. Some of them are different. Like they have different utility. So that's a big word you need to know in this whole thing is like what it does. So like the reason why I bought this casino is because it gets me the profits, and that's what I want. I want to make money off this. I don't want to buy something
But do you have to pay like a maintenance fee or anything on
nothing.
it?
Nothing. I literally just get profit every bi-week. They said they're going to do it weekly or bi-weekly. So that's pretty cool. So then like I bought into another one that's like a game, and the reason why I bought it is because like they're showing pictures of it on billboards in New York. So I'm like, oh, it's probably like, I hope it's a big time thing. And people will use this game and wear Oculus headsets. And because they have my NFT character, they can go play the game and it will generate me money. Or they can rent the NFT character off me, or, you know, there's going to be a way that this NFT character, it's going to be like when you go play Call of Duty, you're like, man, I want that sick guy. Well, now you've got to either rent him off me or buy him off me.
Oh, and it's like a one of a kind thing.
Yeah, and when you play with this character, it makes you money. So I don't want to play this. Like I got no time for that.
That sounds so crazy.
Like, there's people that literally just play video games all day now and make money.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know. I don't believe it. Like
I wish
if I started making money, I'd be like,
it's crazy, like crazy money too. Like it's more money than they make at, say, if they have like a job that makes them $25 an hour, they make easily way more. They probably make like $40 an hour playing video games online. Some people, like it's insane. Some people make
for
like,
them.
well, what they've been doing is this whole NFT games changed the game. It's changed video games. So it's changed, like they've made like so that you can generate cryptocurrency out of these games and then change that cryptocurrency into real money. So that's going to be, and that's where like Oculus is going. Like it's going to kind of, have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes. Yeah.
People are going to be,
but the thing is that it's like not everybody can afford an Oculus. They're pretty expensive.
$350. It's going to get cheaper.
That's what has to happen.
It's going to get cheaper, man. It's just like, and like, it's going to be one of those things where if you work in an office, you're going to need an Oculus because you're not working in an office anymore because you're going to need a headset. It's going to be crazy.
Well, but if you work at a school, then what about that?
Okay, so this is another thing that I think that COVID's done. We had school at home for how long? And with younger kids, especially like babies, like kids that are interacting with TVs a lot, they got locked in, especially they've never had that social interaction with actual people. But what they've had is really good social interaction with sophisticated technology like our cell phone. They literally talk to someone right back. Like they'll be like, hey, how are you doing? And it's like they're physically talking to someone. And that's what they've understood. And that's already kind of been, that's the way as time goes on, kids are learning that way. And to push that style of learning scares me, but I think it's going to happen because
my daughter's 2.5 years old and she knows how to
rip an iPad. Yeah, she probably knows how to turn it on, put what she wants. Why?
I mean, we're trying to teach her digital, hygiene and literacy and all that stuff because
you have to.
We're entangled, man.
If you don't, like, honestly, and that's the thing. Everyone's like, my kid's never going to touch an iPad. Yeah, okay.
Your kid's going to become addicted because they never touched an iPad.
Exactly. It's like the time when me, my mom, like my brothers and I, 3 kids, right? Like we were wild. Like I broke my arm 6 times playing outside. Like
were you the middle?
I was the youngest. You couldn't control us. We were just wild. Like 3 boys. Like I had a great childhood.
Poor parents.
Yeah. Poor mom. She like fainted one time when I broke my arm. So basically we would get like a PlayStation. I remember we got N64 or something.
Yeah.
Like, you have the one neighbor at your house every day because he doesn't have one. This guy was more addicted to the PS1 or whatever. Like he was like, I remember we had this game called Final Fantasy. It was like one of the longest games ever.
Yeah. It's only a 1-player game.
He beat it at my house. That's how much time he had at my house. So
he was always over.
Yeah. So regardless, like your kids.
That was like my one buddy in Coke. He never had pop at his house, right? And then he'd always come over, he'd drink pop at my house. And then he could only have milk or water, on occasion juice. Anyways, so then when he graduated, he's like, no, I'm gonna have pop whatever I want. I graduated. So he did bad. He just put on the pounds, man.
Oh man, his body couldn't hit that
His body was
metabolism.
like, what is this? And yeah, it's just like we have to learn boundaries. We have to learn,
Yeah,
build
you
on
have to learn. And like that's the thing when you go into like I went and played in Italy and
yeah,
Europe and in America. And one thing I'll tell you is a 21-year-old guy or girl in the States drinking is an 18 or 19-year-old Canadian in Canada drinking for the first time. You remember like that, oh my God, I'm so drunk after like 2 shots and you're just like, relax.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all drank as teenagers. And
but you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to
shocking. Why would we drink when we're 14? But anyways, yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like
they have no tolerance.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like,
the culture is bad.
Dude, way different.
But in Italy, the culture is different.
Yeah.
So it's a southern drinking culture, and there's hardly any alcoholism in Italy compared to the United States and Canada.
Way less. And the best part about it is like I was like 11 years old, I think. I went to Italy with my family. And I remember like, like everyone's allowed to have a drink, right? My dad's like, you want a drink? And I'm like, hell yeah. Like so then I had a glass of wine with everyone for dinner. But then like I kind of understood like no young kid is getting wasted. Like no young kid is really even drinking. Like they don't, it's not like they just respect it. Like that's all it is. It's just a respect factor. Whereas like me, I treat it as like this golden fucking goose.
Yeah.
Like
and it was devastating.
It was yeah. So
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun, but like I abused alcohol because of the relationship with it, right?
Dude, that's the thing. It's a social thing. Like when you're younger, what do you do? Hey, let's go get drunk on me. Let's go see if we can get the pizza guy to go boot for us, Like that was a thing, man. We just pay the guy like
any success?
Oh yeah, the one guy. Okay, so this one guy, I think he worked for like Pizza Hut. We kept getting him. So like he would bring us like flats of Heineken. One time, he didn't want to like he wanted to hang out. And we're like, okay, that's the last time we're getting you, buddy. Like, no way, you're too old, scary for us. He's like, think I can come out and hang and have a couple beers with you? We're like, no.
He actually said that you guys were like underage kids. Poor guy, man.
No, get out of here. You're scaring me, man. It was terrible.
Kids have asked me to boot for them, and I just on a moral thing, obviously. I'm like,
I just feel like I obviously am not going to.
Yeah, it's not a good. It's weird. They're standing outside. Hey, like one time, this girl, I parked outside of a vape shop. I had no idea it was a fucking vape shop. I had to adjust some shit. My daughter was freaking out. Anyways, this girl's like, hey, are you going inside there? Can you get me I'm like, I am not going. I'm like trying to like, my daughter's crying. I'm like, trust me, I'm not going inside the vape shop. Anyways, like fucking the amount of kids that smoke nowadays, man. Insane. Nicotine, vaping.
Dude, vaping has changed the game. Like,
it's the Bitcoin of.
It is the Bitcoin of darts. You are 100% right.
Yeah.
You're like, it's like vaping, their stock must be Bitcoin stock, and then darts must be US dollar. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's like child labor. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so dark. Like vape, it's only kids that buy that kind of dumb shit.
Dude, and like the funny
part, and then these other guys, like, you ever see like the plume of smoke that come out of those fucking things? It's like, that is not a cool look, man.
And like they're like doing out their nose. They got like,
you look like you're fucking Thomas the train or whatever. Like, dude, like, fuck. Steamboat Willie.
Oh man, they all or like my favorite thing about people that vape. Some of them, like especially older people, do this. Yeah. Like, I'm switching to a vape because I want to quit darts. Dart right after.
And the nicotine, it's like 100 times. Yeah, I've smoked vape and like it's like, it's dude, there's something in there. There's
I can't do it,
carcinogens
man.
like a mother, like it's thick. There's
It is.
particles.
It
It's
is.
like, is that fucking battery acid in my throat?
I don't know. I can smoke weed, no problem.
Yeah, no problem with that.
No problem.
Yeah.
But when you put a cigarette close to me or a vape, I might
Yeah.
just puke all over the place.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
literally.
cigarettes is one thing, but a vape, man, I just feel like there's no like I might as well put my mouth around a fucking take a bong hoot out of a car, out of the fucking car.
Exhaust pipe.
Oh, fuck, like
Wow.
this is not a good idea.
No,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's like there's a couple things coming our way, and yeah. So
Dude.
I don't know. Future's pretty wild. Like
Yeah. Well,
I'm getting married, so like I'm like planning for
Yeah.
kids and stuff, and you're like, holy
Yeah.
shit! Like I'm reading
dude,
all.
that's the only way we're gonna fucking turn it around is kids. Why do you think I was like? Why do you think I work with kids? Part of me still believes there's hope, but I'm like, fuck, every day. I'm like, oh my god, no, kids give me hope.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome to work with. Like I used to train kids for hockey, but that stopped. Honestly, it's pretty wild. Like, and you have such a big influence on the way they think and like the way that like they look up to you, especially if like
they seek you out.
If you can't, like if you talk to them like they matter, like you can really see that like, oh, this person means a lot, like I want to be something like that, right? And like you can like you can like be like a almost a influence on that, which is wild. Like it's insane to think. So
it is crazy to think.
Yeah, you're a good role model for kids too. So you're a pretty funny guy. So we need more comedy in this world.
Oh, Matt, dude, we need like education. It's the only way we're going to get ourselves out of the shithole, right? Like kids are the future, and how you treat them matters. I mean, you can think of a teacher that you had that probably made a difference.
Oh, I got a couple. I have a couple. Yeah. Like honestly,
you matter to them.
Yeah, like they made me like the person I like think the way I think, and like they made me like they gave me the way I treat people, like the ethical value of like treat people. And that's something also too. Like you want to go into something like when we had this virus and like people had to be vaccinated. Now we have Dr. Bonbon saying now that vaccination is gone on April 8th. Well, remember like all the people that are like those unvaccinated people,
we don't want them around here.
I hope that
I got tons of friends. Well, I have quite a few friends who are not vaccinated, and it's like, hey, whatever.
Yeah,
I want to hang out with you. I want to drink beer with you.
Yeah, and like
I don't agree with some of the shit.
Yeah,
I want to hang out with you.
But like, think about the people that said like all this crazy benign things. Like, like I hope this person gets sick and dies because they choose to be an anti-vaxxer. Well,
that's
that's a real good judgment of your character, right there.
Well, but people, and not defending that because I'm not like that's a really shitty thing to say. But the way that people were talking to people online, that's part of like what's going on with the human brain.
100%.
We're acting like Gollum because we're scared and shit.
Exactly.
Right? Like I heard people, and it was just like, hey, like, because like I say, I got friends on both sides. Not to sound like that. Like an asshole.
I get it.
Anyways, but I do have people, and it's like I don't agree with everything, but like I love you and I appreciate you, and let's have a conversation because there's no way you can change a person's mind if their mind is made up, right?
And we know that, like with our buddy, like you can. It was pretty hard to talk to him there at the end before he passed away, but like he was set, like that he was set in the way he
had his mind made up.
He had his mind made up, and and that's the thing, like. That's during this whole thing. Like I work at BC Ferries, and at the start of the pandemic, I was terrified, man. Like I moved out. I moved because I was living with my parents. I moved out of my house to my girlfriend's house because her parent, like my mom's immune compromised, my dad's diabetic. Her parents completely like perfect bill of health. So I'm like, I'm going to risk it over there because like they were fine with it. They were like, yeah, we could totally beat this thing if we got it. Whereas my parents, I didn't know. I would come home every day after work while 2-week lockdown where no one worked. I would come home every day. I'd get changed outside, butt ass naked, throw my clothes into the garbage bag, go chuck my shit into the garbage or into the washer, wash it, hop in
the ferries were still going during the
whole time, right? And like they laid off a bunch of employees, but not the first aid attendants. And that's what my job title traditionally is before substitution. And so that's the whole thing. And then like I'm working the whole time, no vaccination, and I be honest, I didn't want the vax. I didn't want it. I thought like, you know, like
dude, when I got it, I was like, holy shit, I just got Indian ditch water in me because I got COVID shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the I don't know what COVID shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I basically like I did it because I need to pay my mortgage and my job was going to fire me if I didn't. And I'll say that 100% because I'm a young guy. I believe that my body can fight it off.
A lot of young people do.
I believe that all the people I love, they're all vaccinated. All the older people, they need it. That's what it's there for. They need that shield. I don't. If I get it and something goes wrong, at the end of the day, that was my choice. But I do want to remind everyone, there was a 99.998% chance of me not dying. So I'll like, you know, that's like the same.
I'll take my chances.
It's like me winning the lotto, man. Like, I still play the lotto. I haven't won. I've never won. I play every lotto ticket. I'm in a group. So it's the same chances essentially. So that's the way I literally, and the best part is, so I got my vaccination and we go watch football at my buddy's house because you can't go to the bar with all your friends because some of them aren't vaccinated, as you know. Yeah. And you're so like, all right, let's go to we call it the sin bin to our friends, and we're 6 or 8 of us. No, it was 8 of us. And it was over Christmas when Omicron ripped through everyone. Yeah. And guess what happened? There's out of all the 8 of us there, 6 vaccinated, 2 unvaxxed. All vaccinated got sick. 2 unvaxxed, completely fine.
Really?
Completely fine. I went home. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel sick. I had like one day.
You got Omicron.
Yeah, I had a.
What if one of the unvaccinated people brought it though? I'm just being the devil's.
Dude, you want to know what the funny part is? Just like they didn't know they brought it, I didn't even have time for it. I had like a little bit of a stuffy nose one day, and I was like, maybe I did something bad last night. That like, you know, like it was like not like I didn't like it was nothing for me. Like it was nothing bad at all. And like
I was up too late.
I was worried that my mom was gonna get sick. My mom, the immune compromised one, crushed it. She got sick for 2 days, laid in bed, whatever, out Adam baking the next day. My dad, diabetic, one of the ones I was terrified for too. You know what he said to me too? He's like, I was like, Dad, you sick at all? He's like, I got so much shit on my mind. I ain't got time for that either. I started laughing, right? Like, my girlfriend, she took it a little bit harder. Everyone's vaccinated here, but like, you know what I mean? Like all my unvaccinated friends, I have a couple of them. None of them ever got sick. Yeah. So I don't know what
my one buddy, he's not vaccinated and he got like sick. He got COVID twice. He's like, it wasn't that bad, but the first time it sounded pretty rough. I was like,
I know people that are vaccinated got COVID like twice. Like that's my cousin. So this is a good story. So I have a cousin. She works in the hospital. She's the head ICU like nurse or doctor. I mean, she's a really good doctor, and I trust her word. And so like when she's like telling you to get vaccinated, I'm like, yeah, she's probably right. Like, you know, she's talking about like how scared the variant is, whatever. So this all going on, she gets sick from COVID at the start, unvaccinated. So she gets COVID, she isolates, she gets rid of COVID. Guess where they put her on duty now? In the COVID ward.
Oh, because she has immunity.
Yeah, but they didn't tell us that. This was before the vaccine.
Oh.
This is pre-vaccine. So like
so you get it and then you have an immunity.
Yeah, but they didn't tell us that. Like they never
Yeah.
told anyone that.
But-
They're saying vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. She got it, and then they stuck her right in the fire. Like
Yeah.
she's fine.
Right. Yeah.
That was the
She
only
had the
explanation for it.
antibodies or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was wild. And then, yeah, I just thought that was funny. And then we all had to get vaccinated.
I mean, from my understanding, if you got like the people that died from COVID, it was like horrible, like, you know, pulmonary stuff.
But they're reviewing a lot of the cases in a lot of
right. Well, they had other things, right?
Yeah, they're reviewing a lot.
But imagine if this was like the bubonic plague, where it was like you get it, you're dead.
Right? I thought that at first when I saw people dropping on the streets in China.
And then that turned out that wasn't real, right?
That wasn't real because no one died here. I also saw that downtown in Ottawa when there was all those truckers protesting, no one died. No one got sick. And I got to wear a mask outdoor while I'm at BC Fairs. Let's put it that way.
That's gone tomorrow, though, apparently.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Like, it's tiresome. Like, and it just drives people up the wall. And it's such an overdrawn topic now. And it's notice what's happening. This war in Ukraine is now going to kind of buffer this little transition of, COVID's gone. But this war on Ukraine, holy shit, World War. And something tells me with all this digital currency and this like movement, back conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Cyber attack is next.
What's that?
Cyber attack.
Cyber attack.
Coming next. That's the next.
Well, an EMP, like imagine if someone just, instead of a nuke, they dropped a massive EMP and just took out like all.
They'll shut down
communication.
Well, yeah, it won't be
and lights and everything.
Shut off our gas. That's what they'll do. That's what the cyber attack will do. They'll like go into our banking or into some system or somewhere and they'll shut off a key power supply that we need, and boom. And but like I said, there's been a lot of stuff happening for this transition of money to go on, like this ISO 222 roadmap, and everything's coming into play, and that's just my conspiracy. And yeah, I just think the whole backing gold or using gold to back cryptocurrency, I see it as 100% possible.
Well, yeah, because gold is the thing, right? It's the material thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I think over COVID, this is another thing. Since COVID started, gold went up like insane amounts of money.
Yeah, so just because everybody was panic buying it, probably.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. It's because inflation. Panic buying, people weren't stockpiling gold. Other countries started stockpiling gold now. I don't know, like people, like I think like right now people are also on such like you said, don't have much money to invest, right? Because it's how hard is it to pay for shit when you got to go buy a tank of gas that's insanely priced.
$2.
Your taxes have gone up inflation.
My joke used to be gas is still cheaper than a bottle of water. Now water's cheaper.
It's actually cheaper. You're about to be able to buy a beer cheaper than get a gallon of gas.
That's crazy. Well, one joke I saw is gas is now so expensive that it's cheaper just to buy cocaine and run everywhere.
you might as well.
Might have more fun, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's insane. So
yeah,
and like, I just think gold is gonna be such a big deal in this next little bit, and
are we gonna make it?
I think we're gonna make it.
Human beings we're crazy, man. Like we are cockroaches.
Have you heard of the World Economic Forum?
The who?
The World Economic.
Oh, the World
Economic Schwab.
Pardon me?
This Klaus Schwab or whatever, Klaus Schwab.
Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, he's this old-looking, wrinkly fuck. Sorry, excuse my language.
Oh, that's all right.
Shit out of me.
He scares you.
Yeah, well, dude, he's like, we infiltrated the cabinets of all of the main G7 countries, including Justin Trudeau, and he talks about all these guys, like, and he's like, they're young. He's like, there are young. I can't remember what the specific name are. Young innovators of society.
Yeah.
What
Justin Trudeau, man? I don't trust that guy at all.
I don't trust that shit at all, and especially when you come up with a book that's called The Great Reset. What?
That was the name of his book?
Yeah, and he sent it to every government official. The Alberta
Justin
Premier.
Trudeau.
No, this is Klaus Schwab.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so he sent this book called The Great Reset to everyone, how you can't let a great pandemic or a great global event go to waste. And he sent this book to every government official, every like in all these countries. And the Alberta Premier, he spoke out against it. He made a video saying like, this is crazy. They want a one world currency. They want everyone to own nothing. And it's like, okay, the Alberta Premier is literally talking out about this. But if I talk out about this, I'm a conspiracy theorist and now I got to put my tinfoil hat back on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think that whole thing terrifies the shit out of me. And when you talk more about regulation of crypto and the ISO 222 roadmap, boom.
Well, you got to send me this thing because
I totally will.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insanity. So you can look it up right now. It's called the World Economic Forum. You can just
World. Okay, yeah.
It is.
No, I have heard of this, but like World.
Oh my God!
And his name's Klaus Schwab.
Dude.
Oh, he looks like a penguin.
It's crazy. You go to their site, and they talk about blockchain. They talk about climate change. Everything that this ISO 222 roadmap. They got an agenda. They got it all, and they have no problem telling you everything they're about to do.
Do you think that we could completely convert to a clean fuel?
No, we need oil. What do you think? What's oil used for? Pharmaceuticals, plastics, basically everything we use.
You will always need oil in some
to make a car. You need oil you literally need oil. Oil's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's I get we want clean energy, but people forget you actually need the compound of oil, the actual mineral itself to make plastic, to make the pharmaceuticals is based off ethanol. The whole pharmaceutical industry makes a lot of chemical compounds. So when people think you're going to completely get rid of oil, I think that's a myth. I honestly,
well, my one buddy who I interviewed on here, he works up in the oil fields up northern BC, and he's like, I don't care how much granola you chew, you will never get rid of oil, and it's true. It's in the clothing that we wear.
Everything. It's literally everything. You're like, I swallow that shit. You're like, Tylenol, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. People don't know that.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. Okay, I'm reading this book right now about gut health, right?
Yeah.
And what's happening at a microbial level in our intestines, in our guts, is crazy, man. The bacteria, the good bacteria, is dying.
Yeah.
And it's it's been in us since we were us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our entire bodies are changing with the food that we eat. Fuck, how... Excuse my language, but how are we going to keep feeding people? Man, it's just it's going to become untenable.
We've not really paid attention. We've been so crazy lately on how to vaccinate and how to do all this stuff and spending so much money on this whole process. We just blew so much money on this whole vaccination process, but no, we didn't figure out how to build sustainable food shelters that grow food in sea cans under UV light that. That's what they're doing.
That's what we're gonna have to do, man.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing in Victoria right now. They're making all these microgreens and all these crazy places.
Have you heard of oasification?
Yeah, actually, but explain it a little bit again.
Well, it's when you turn desert. I was researching this. It's you turn desert, because desertification is what's happening, and that's taking all the semi-air. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're talking about oasification, pushing it back and turning it into an oasis-like environment. And then it's how do you do that? Well, obviously you need water, and how do they get water in Saudi Arabia is desalination plants. But the problem is that with those, it takes the seawater, takes the salt out of it, and then they get their water.
Yeah.
But what do they do with the leftover salt water? Like it's like super concentrated. It's like brine.
So, yeah.
They release it back into the ocean and it like sinks to the bottom. And it's like it's probably what's bleaching the coral in the ocean right now.
There's also the temperature of the water is a big factor on bleaching the coral.
Yes, but we're adding more
salt and stuff. Yeah, changing the chemical compound of the ocean for sure.
Like that's why I think that if we could change our practices, because there is no denying that our practices have affected where we are right now in the world. We've amplified it. Climates change over time. We can know by looking at back, from the Holocene to the last ice age. Temperatures change on the planet, but we are speeding it up. Like this current age that we're in is called the Anthropomorphine. Because
we're pushing the climate. Yeah, we're pushing that polar ice cap now.
Yeah,
this has happened before, but we're definitely speeding it up. But I would like to say this: I don't think Canada's speeding it up too much.
What's that?
I don't think Canada is speeding it up that much, but I pay a lot of carbon tax for it.
Yeah,
I think I know for a fact because when I went to Thailand, people are just chucking their trash into the water. Those Asian countries,
I know
some of them, and like Japan, maybe like I don't know which ones. I'm not going to speak out a word here.
Yeah,
but I know for a fact they don't give a shit. But
it's like George Carlin said, like Greenpeace or whatever. These people want to save the earth. It's like the earth is going to be here long after us.
Yeah,
right. Totally. We need to save ourselves.
We need to figure out how
we need to be honest and say it's not save the earth. It's like save yourselves, right?
Like, and I like to say, like, I'll slow down my concentration of meat, but man, you never see a friggin' lion eat tofu.
That's like I was saying earlier, like, okay, well, I want to take vegans and take all meat eaters and take the vegans and put them on an island with like, boar and like all kinds of nice, awesome meat animals that are just like lying in the sun and spears everywhere. And it's like, all right, guys, we're going to run 14 laps around the island. Okay. All right. There you go. There's like palm trees everywhere. No coconuts.
Nothing.
I want to see how long those vegans last before they're like, fuck it. Right. Then I want to take these guys who are like, I only eat meat. That's all I eat. And then put them on an island. And all that's there is like a beautiful, beautiful salad bar. Just amazing. Pine nuts, everything, candied shit. See how long those motherfuckers last before they crack. And prove to people you have to have a balanced diet. Jesus.
The best part about it though is you can't make people like you'd say go here for no money. They wouldn't do that. They'd be like, no way. Like I'm not going to do that for no money. Of course I'm not going to do that for no money.
$2 million. Every vegan would line up.
They'll crack.
Huh?
They're too like if they go there for no money, they won't do that because they know they'll crack. But if they go there for money, they will probably starve themselves like crazy. And then, but I guarantee you, one of those guys will be like, I can't do this real quick though. Like it'll be so fast and we'll film it and we'll just laugh. It'll be great.
I saw this video of a man alone on an island for 300 days and he recorded himself. And dude, it's crazy about like the human mind and what it does.
That's hard.
Yeah. Like we are social creatures.
Very.
I mean, think about Castaway with Wilson or whatever. Like that is true. We need connections.
I talk to myself when I'm alone for 5 minutes in the shower.
Yeah. Well, me too. People ask me why I'm so loud all the time. It's like, well, because when I was a kid, I was alone all the time. So I never regulated my voice. So whenever I'd see people, I'm like, yeah. They're like, wow, he's always like, now I got a daughter and a wife and like life's beautiful. And it's like, fuck, I'm an introvert. The last place I want to be is a party.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I kind of don't miss that at all.
Yeah. But isolation is not good for a human being.
Isolation is not good.
Or feelings of isolation. God,
I go out. I do a lot of social things. Like, I go to yoga. I do I go see my friends all the time. I don't go party, but I see people a lot. I do things
Yeah.
like at work, you know, I make things possible
Yeah.
to do. Just because I enjoy people. But like literally if I'm at home for a couple days, or like say if I'm sick and like I don't talk to anyone for like 2 days,
Yeah.
the only thing that makes me feel better is the fact that I feel better.
Mm.
After that, I'm like still depressed because I've been
Yeah.
away from the world. Like I feel like, whoa, like I need to like talk to my friends. Like, you know, like I need that interaction of like my family, you
Yeah.
know? So I think I don't know how, like you watch the show Alone. I don't know how people do that.
Mm.
I'm amazed like how people, like some people make it like 80, 90 days alone. That guy that did 300, like the
Yeah.
shit that was going through his head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Well, even in like the first week, it's crazy. And he has a watch, and I thought this part was really crazy. He has it like a Rolex watch or whatever. He takes it out, puts it in its case, and buries it. And he's like, I have now stopped time. I was like, whoa. It was crazy, man.
That is
And
deep.
then it's just the way that he lived was just, it's a totally different life. Because I mean, the way that we live, this is such an experiment.
Oh, the
The
whole
way
thing.
that we live, like, man, if I didn't have to wake up to be at work for 8:30, I'd be up all night. I'm a
Oh
night
man,
owl, man.
I would be Roman, man. Like that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I would have no set schedule. It'd be crazy. But like
No.
you
Yeah.
need, we have some sort of
Yeah.
schedule laid
We're
out.
kept in place.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
It's
like,
no different than in many ways, the peasants of the medieval. I mean, obviously we get to go on vacation. It's totally different. But I'm just saying that, like, really where a lot of people are stuck.
well, hold on, Rob.
A
Let's say
lot,
this.
yeah.
We've done this school system the same way for like 100 years.
Mhm.
Why do you think they haven't changed it? It's working
Yeah.
perfect. It's like we're
Right. For what they want it for. Yeah.
we're here, man. Like we're
Yeah.
we're right where they want us. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you listen to this Claude Schwab guy. He talks about global elites and hacking
Oh
the
man.
human body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit, they got us.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Well, but I think though that in many ways, like with the internet, it's so crazy. It's that people don't like. It's like how you manage it, right? Because I bring my individual experiences. I've said this before, and then I go, I put them out there, and then I get everybody else's individual experiences because they're an equal, just like me. And all this information, we're getting it back like tenfold. And it's a lot of data. And it's like, how do we separate, because it's like we're all looking for a gold rush. We're all prospectors, and we got to sift through the dirt to find the gold,
Just
pellets or
looking at
whatever.
the nugget.
But a lot of people, they just keep feeding what they got. It's like when you study for a test, what do you study for?
Well, the answer, like trying to,
But honestly, you usually study what you already know. You
yeah,
you,
you
you
know,
don't
like
often study
whatever
what you
the
don't
teacher's
know,
giving
right?
you in notes, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Your
But you
general.
study what you're more comfortable with. That's just kind of how it naturally is. Versus like, oh, I'm not good at that area. I got to work. You have to consciously do that. And a lot of people with the information they're getting on the internet, they're not.
Yes.
They're just going with it, right?
Dude, they eat it like
Because they're tired. They work 10-hour days. They go home and do
and
the
this
endless
goes
scroll.
back to like this goes back to like, even communism. Like when like in North Korea, like they don't eat. So they don't even have time to think because they're so hungry.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
China, they don't really have time to think because they're working so hard. We don't have time to think because we're battling our
Entertain.
work plus our media bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
like they literally give you no time to think if
Yeah.
you think about it.
It's
It's
crazy how like celebrities are like political activists. It's like
the Ukrainian president used to be an actor.
he was a
And
comedian.
he won his presidency off of a show that he created. So he created a show called
Yeah.
Citizen of our Worker of the People or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He won his presidency based off the exact same campaign that he used in the show.
Yeah. That's crazy.
that is.
But he seems like the real deal, man. Like,
Oh, totally. Like, I get it. Like, but you want to know what? The Rock would also seem like the real deal too.
yeah.
You know, like everyone loves the
But
Rock.
he's in the front lines. Like,
Yeah, but imagine the Rock's like, I'm gonna go fight with people too and go take pictures out there. How many
Yeah.
soldiers do you
I
think
see
that
what
guy's
you're saying.
actually shot at? You think he's actually shooting at people? I don't think so.
Well, if he dies, that's gonna be a huge.
You want to know? If he dies, I'll eat my word. But I don't think that guy's anywhere close to the war. I don't think.
I see what you're saying.
I honestly, I don't think that's. I don't think They're not. He's not going to be anywhere.
Well, they got to keep him alive. He's like
they got to keep that guy alive. He's their figure, man. And if they kill him off, it's like killing off Epstein at that point to me. Like, you know, like they're like, if he dies in battle, I get it. Like, I'll say like I was wrong, but I just don't think he's like it's like Justin Trudeau when he goes and takes pictures somewhere. They like hire actors and like like they had him and Kamala Harris or whatever next to all those soldiers, or like it's just like
it's all
a front. Like he's like he goes out to an oil
I can't stand politicians.
Classes. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean?
Like you don't, dude. Like the best part though is the fact that he was a drama teacher. I just find that funny. I like there's a joke right there.
Rob, you're the next president, bro, or next prime minister. You can do it. You can run. But the only thing is though,
I don't know French.
Your dad's not Fidel Castro. You don't have the political influence.
People say I look like Sean Penn though, so I mean,
you do look like a good guy.
Yeah. There was another one I was going to say. What do you think about Jeffrey Epstein? That whole thing.
Oh, dude, that is so wild. So let's get this tinfoil hat on. That guy.
Well, I don't know if that's a tinfoil hat because
that guy did not kill himself. Why haven't we listened to Ghislaine Maxwell? Why, like, dude, that lady literally had like hundreds of girls sex trafficked all over, and guess what? They covered up her, like they like paid to cover up her trial. There was no media allowed. Why the fuck aren't we hearing about that? Like, they hurt innocent young kids that did not know any better. They literally did the worst thing you can do, like going to war, all that stuff. Adults do that with adults.
Trafficking.
You traffic a young child, and when you go that far and when you're having Bill Clinton at your place so many times, I don't know.
How do you not know that?
Dude, the crazy part is everyone down that whole Clinton line, there's more.
Oh, Hillary Clinton, man.
She's assassinating more people than just Epstein. She, like, anyone that's in her way, she's like, they've died from suicide.
Yeah. Well, because remember Bill Clinton, she had an affair.
Yeah. Well, dude, Bill Clinton, there's a picture, and apparently it's a well-known picture. Jeffrey Epstein in his foyer in his main building, in his main house in New York, there's a picture of Bill Clinton wearing a purple dress. If that doesn't say I'm your bitch, there's nothing else.
Bill Clinton's wearing a purple dress.
Purple dress. A painted picture of Bill Clinton in a purple dress. If that's not saying, I got you, buddy.
Epstein has a picture.
Yeah. In his foyer, it's a famous picture now because it's been blown up out of because people went into his place and saw all the crazy art, right? Like, this guy's got art of like this one chick. She was making it's really gnarly art, but she was using her younger sister as like her base model, so it looked a lot like her younger sister. Well, Epstein loved that girl. Apparently, he bought all that art, and it's all over the place, and it's pretty gross to me. Like, it's like younger.
The guy's like a total piece of shit.
Yeah, and but anyways,
total piece of shit.
Yeah.
Why would any of those people be associated? Unless he had them so fooled. You know what I mean? Like, how would you not have known this?
I think when you are so high up and you're so deep, there's shit, man, that we have no idea about. I just think because apparently this guy has just so much information on people, Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, so there's
who's it? Prince Harry or
yeah,
Prince Andrew.
And the best part about that trial is the guy, like, you know, that girl that was on the show, like on Netflix show, like saying like, this is Prince Harry in pictures. They didn't pull her up as a witness. They didn't pull up any of those girls as a witness in this trial. They only pulled up like 3 witnesses, and apparently no one knows who they were. Of all the girls that got like raped and all that stuff, they only pulled up 3. So like, what the hell is going on? I think like the power thing is just insane. And like when you have
people, man, honestly, dude, like,
and
I don't know, like I was saying, there's an old proverb. I'm not sure the origin of where, but it says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. But the problem is that there is an enemy within right now. Like, you know, we've got to heal, man. But it's like people try to heal, they do their best, and it's never good enough. And then we think that there's, you know, misintentions. Of course, this is all very rich coming from someone of my cultural background. But the other thing too is that, well, let's even talk about that. So I'm Scottish, right? My family was kicked out of Scotland by the English, and we had to flee to Ireland, our clan. And then there was a potato famine and all that stuff. And then we came here.
First World War.
That's when your family came here.
That's why St. Paddy's Day, because the revolt of was all the people that revolted. There was like 14 families. I've been to Dublin and I saw exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so there was the revolt of people were going to the Killingham jail. They were going there because they're getting at least 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
No one else in the whole entire place was getting nothing. So like people were like 7-year-olds were committing crimes just to try to go to jail. It was like, apparently it was just insane. And then people,
and like baby, like, you know, this terrible. You can't, you know,
I heard that, like, it's crazy. And then so they had like a huge revolution. There was like the firing squad for the last time. That was a big signifier, I think, of like the 14 families or something like that. I don't know. I was also having a couple pints of Guinness while you're walking through the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like, it was like, wow, I didn't know this. And the guy said, he's like, you know why you didn't hear about this on the West? It's because all you guys talk about is the First World War. And I was like, and he said in his Irish accent, I was like,
yeah. That's why the Irish didn't fight in the First World War.
Yeah.
They separated, right? Became the Republic.
So your family, was it your grandma that was a part of that?
So
grandfather?
Oh man. Well, my background is so messed up. I really don't even know my history. And it's because it's so muddled. Like my great grandfather, he fought in World War I and World War II. He died at Dieppe, which was an experiment in preparation of D-Day. So he was like sacrificed pretty much because he knew it was going to be a failure. And my grandfather, my dad's side, he was shot in the head, lived, became a raging alcoholic. I shouldn't say that. I never met the man. That's such a bad thing to say. Dude, he struggled he struggled.
Guy got shot in the friggin' head.
Yeah, man. Like, but that's what I'm saying is that we look at the trauma of the past, and you know, I don't want to slight nobody, but like we look at the trauma of the past, people are affected. They carry that with them, right? And they have to work through that. And everybody's got something, I believe, you know. And when we say, you know, virtue signal or whatever the fuck it is that we do, and we say, oh my, you know, it's not that bad, you know, blah blah blah. It's like, man, everybody's got something. Their worst is their worst. It's relative. Rock bottom's relative. When someone's dog dies, it hurts and crushes just as bad as losing your grandma or whatever, right? Because that's their point of reference. And we got to be more compassionate. We've got to stop being assholes.
Oh, dude.
I'm sick of it.
It's actually, well, I don't mind like having a friendly couple chirps here and there between me and my friends.
Yeah. But that's friendship.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I love that. But like the other day, my fiance was walking into the mall, and this old lady, she was wearing nice jeans and like a nice shirt and jacket, but she wore sandals into the mall. Like, and they weren't even like ugly sandals. But this lady,
your fiance did.
yeah, and this lady walked by her and she muddled something like, "Oh my God, she's wearing sandals." And so my fiance, like, she's usually like the person I would be like, "Oh my God, like I can't believe she said that." She's like, "I just like had a little bit of enough," and I turned around, I'm like, "Why do you say that? What'd you say?"
Yeah.
And the lady's like, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that." She's like, "Yeah, you should be a little bit more nice." And it's just like people like, what did that lady just
Hey,
decide?
but good
Like,
for that lady.
yeah. Just
Can I tell you about the one that I had?
Yeah.
This lady. Okay, so I was parked, right? And I was parked, and I was on my phone because I want to be safe. And there's parking spots everywhere, and this lady honks at me, and I'm like, I put the phone down and I stick my head out the window, and I look at this person, and I'm like, "Did you just honk at me?" She's like, "Are you gonna move or what?" I'm like, "Not now. Better move your ass on." And I went right back on my phone. Like, at least be like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
Are you gonna move? I'm like,
I'm waiting for a friend. What the fuck do you care?
yeah. You think I'm gonna move after that? You are an idiot. Not only are you an ass, you're a dumbass.
Yeah, that's actually wild.
I had worse things to say, trust me, but I'm like, I won't repeat that.
Yeah, we'll keep that one on the DL, right?
But man, that's what it is. Like, keep an open mind, but be kind too. And it's like, it's tough, man. Like, because I have days when it's like, Jesus, it's heavy.
Dude, I won't lie, like everyone has those days. Like I have those days where I'm just like, you're like, okay, like, I gotta put a mask on. But like, I don't know. I talked to my buddy who is a real estate agent, and he says, I'm like, are you ever days like you don't want a phone call? He's like, listen to this. Every time I call someone, they don't know whether my dog died, I stubbed my toe. All they hear is, "Hi, this is me from whatever realty," and they hear my happy voice and they hear a good person, and that's all they want to hear. They don't give a shit about anything else. And he's like, you got to mask that. You got to figure out that mask and put it on. And sometimes, like, yeah, you bottle up, but you also got to learn how to talk about that shit when you're not feeling well. Like,
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, everybody needs a pressure valve, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you're playing the trumpet and you got so much spit built up there, you can't talk. You gotta let that sucker out, you know?
Yeah. Shake it. Yeah. And that's why isolation, man. Gotta break it. Well, Matteo, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime, man. That was fun.
Yeah, we gotta do that again. I mean,
yeah, I got some more stuff we can definitely talk about. If you want me to open up the old
oh yeah,
hats, I can.
I love a good theory. Like I say, I love a good theory.
Let's do it, man, because I got one more. If you want to do it again, let's do it.